You've been told to give more, to love harder, to show him you care. But what if I told you that's exactly why he's pulling away? A man doesn't fall for a woman because she makes herself endlessly available. He falls for the woman who makes him feel like he has to earn her time, her energy, her heart. The moment you stop overinvesting, the moment you stop answering every text in seconds and canceling plans just to see him, is the moment he realizes you're not like the rest. You're rare, and rare things aren't easy to get. When you create emotional contrast, showing up fully present when you're with him, but also unapologetically living your own life, he feels a pull he can't explain. You're a mystery he wants to unravel, a challenge that excites him, a woman with standards that make him rise. He'll start thinking about you constantly, wondering what you're doing, craving your energy. And here's the secret. It's not about playing games. It's about building a life so rich and vibrant that he feels lucky just to be a part of it. Do this, and he won't stop chasing you. Have you ever noticed how, in the very beginning of a connection, there's this undeniable excitement? The texts feel electric. Every moment you're together feels new. And there's this sense of curiosity hanging in the air. But then, slowly, something shifts. He stops putting in as much effort. The conversations get shorter, the plans less frequent. And you're left wondering, what happened to that man who couldn't stop chasing you at the start? Here's the thing no one tells you. The chase isn't about playing games, but it is about understanding human nature. People value what they feel they could lose. And what creates that sense of value? The system they feel they could lose. And what creates that sense of value? Emotional contrast. Let me explain. When a man knows he has all of you, your time, your attention, your energy, without ever having to work for it, the relationship stops feeling like a pursuit and starts feeling like a given. The magic disappears because there's no polarity anymore. He knows you're there, he feels no risk of losing you, and suddenly he's not compelled to chase. But when you create emotional contrast, you change that dynamic. Emotional contrast is about giving him your warmth, presence, and affection when you're with him, but also showing him that you're not available every single moment. It's about being the woman who can lean in and be deeply connected, yet also has a life so rich and fulfilling that she's not clinging to his every move. That contrast keeps him on his toes because he never feels like he's reached the finish line. He gets to experience the joy of being close to you, but also feels the healthy tension of wondering, am I doing enough to keep her attention? Am I bringing my best self into this? Most people make the mistake of overcompensating for fear of losing someone. You like him, so you answer every text immediately. You clear your schedule when he asks to see you. You stay on the phone late at night, even when you're exhausted, because you don't want to risk missing a moment with him. But in doing that, you remove the natural ebb and flow that creates desire. He doesn't have time to miss you because you're always there. He doesn't have to wonder what you're doing because you've made him the center of your world. And as soon as that happens, his instincts to pursue start to fade. Imagine it this way. When you're deeply present with him, make him feel like he's the only person in the room. Make him feel like he's the only person in the room. Laugh, flirt, let him see the most radiant, magnetic version of you. But when you're apart, don't rush to fill every gap with constant communication. Let there be space. Let him wonder what you're up to. Not because you're trying to be manipulative, but because you genuinely have a life that excites you, a life that doesn't revolve around him. When he sends that text and you don't reply instantly because you're out living your life, he feels it. He realizes he doesn't just have you by default. He has to show up, invest, and keep pursuing to stay close to you. This isn't about withdrawing love or affection. It's about balancing your presence with your independence. A woman who gives emotional contrast doesn't chase him to validate her worth. She knows her worth already. She chooses to share her time and energy because she wants to, not because she's trying to hold on to him. That's the kind of energy that keeps a man coming back over and over again. It makes him feel excited about seeing you because he knows that time with you is special. It's not something he gets on autopilot. Think about the last time you deeply wanted something. Was it the thing you could grab easily without effort? Or was it the thing you had to stretch a little for? The thing that felt just out of reach? Sitting without impulse, praying and trying to think about the future. It felt like just out of reach. Desire lives in that place where you feel close enough to touch it, but still inspired to keep moving forward. That's what you create in him when you give him your presence, but also your absence. So don't be afraid to pull back sometimes, not as a strategy, but as a reflection of your full, beautiful life. Go out with your friends. Spend a weekend working on your passions. Fill your world with things that make you light up from the inside out. The right man won't see your independence as a threat. He'll see it as a challenge to rise to. He'll recognize that to be part of your life, he has to bring his best. And he'll chase you because he knows you're not waiting around for someone who won't. When you master this balance, you don't have to question whether he's losing interest. You'll see it in his actions. He'll call more. He'll plan dates. He'll make the effort because he feels he's chosen you, not because he stumbled into having you. And isn't that what we all deserve? Someone who doesn't just want us in the beginning, but keeps choosing us over and over again. We've all been taught that if we really like someone, we should show it. Lean in, give them more of our time, make them feel special. And while that comes from a good place, it's one of the most dangerous traps you can fall into, especially early on. Because what often happens is you start overinvesting far too soon. You text first every time. You make yourself constantly available. You go out of your way to accommodate his schedule. You're the one initiating plans, checking in, making sure the connection doesn't fizzle out. And at first, it might feel like you're building momentum. But here's the problem. You're not letting him feel the weight of your absence. You're not giving him space to think, wait a second, I miss her. I want more of her energy in my life. Instead, you're flooding him with attention he hasn't yet earned. And when someone doesn't feel they've had to work for your affection, they don't value it in the same way. It's like being handed a beautiful gift without even asking for it. You might be grateful, but it doesn't feel as meaningful as the gift you had to save up for, plan for, and pursue. That's human nature. We value what we invest in. So if a man doesn't have to invest in you, if he doesn't have to make any effort to win your time and attention, why would he feel compelled to keep chasing you? He won't. He'll start to pull back, not necessarily because he doesn't like you, but because it all feels too easy, too certain, too soon. And this is where I want you to flip the script. Instead of thinking, if I give more, he'll realize how amazing I am, I want you to think, if I give him space to invest in me, he'll show me how amazing he can be. That small shift in mindset changes everything. Because suddenly, you're not trying to prove yourself to him, you're allowing him to prove himself to you. You're not texting every morning just to stay on his radar, you're waiting to see if he reaches out to you, because he wants to hear your voice. You're not dropping everything to fit in to his schedule. So that you're letting him work around your life and meet you halfway. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about withholding affection just to manipulate him. It's about recognizing your value and letting him experience what it feels like to earn a place in your life. Think about it. A man who's genuinely interested in you won't be turned off by having to put in effort. In fact, it will make him respect you more, because deep down, every man wants to feel like he's chosen you, not that he was handed you on a silver platter. When you stop over-investing, something beautiful happens. You give him space to lead, to plan, to pursue. You create room for his desire to grow instead of smothering it with constant reassurance. And most importantly, you protect your own heart. Because if you're always the one giving, you never get to see what he's capable of giving back. You don't get to see if he's really there for you or if he's just enjoying the benefits of your energy without truly committing to you. So let him earn it. Let him call. Let him plan the next date. Let him wonder what you're up to, instead of being an open book all the time. And in the moments when you do give your energy, give it fully. But never forget, you're not auditioning for him. You're inviting him to step into your world and show you if he deserves to stay there. That's the difference between someone chasing you endlessly and someone taking you for granted. One of the most powerful things you can do to make a man chase you is to embody the energy of a woman who knows her value, not just in words, but in every action she takes. Too often, I see people trying to hold on to someone by being overly agreeable, bending their boundaries, or staying silent when they know deep down they're not being treated the way they deserve. To calmly, unapologetically communicate your standards, you immediately separate yourself from the crowd. It's not about being demanding or rigid. It's about knowing the difference between what you're willing to accept and what you're not. When a man senses that you're coming from a place of security where you don't need his approval and you're not afraid to lose him, something profound happens. Instead of pulling away, he leans in. He starts to value you more because he realizes you're not just looking for any relationship. You're looking for the right relationship. The women who capture a man's heart aren't the ones who say yes to everything or overlook behaviors that make them feel uneasy. They're the ones who calmly say, "This doesn't work for me," when they're faced with something that doesn't align with their value. And it's not said in a way that's emotional or combative. It's said in a way that radiates self-respect. That self-respect is magnetic. Think about it. When someone isn't afraid to walk away from a situation that isn't meeting their needs, it creates gravity. It shows they're not operating from fear. They're not there because they're terrified of being alone or because they're waiting to be chosen. They're there because they genuinely believe this person could add to their already amazing life. And if not, they're not afraid to leave. That's rare. Men instinctively respect what they have to rise to meet. And I don't mean playing games or creating artificial tests. I mean showing through your energy that your time and your heart aren't given away cheaply. That if he wants a place in your life, he needs to show up consistently and authentically. Because when you make it clear that you're not someone who will settle for breadcrumbs, you become the kind of person he doesn't want to lose. Here's where many people go wrong. They assume setting standards will scare a man off. And it might. But here's the secret. If it scares him off, he was never the right man for you in the first place. The right man won't be threatened by your standards. He'll be inspired by them. He'll want to rise to meet you there because deep down, men are wired to value what doesn't come easily. They don't fall in love with someone they can't respect. They fall in love with someone who challenges them to grow and brings out their best. You don't need to shout about your worth. You don't need to prove it. You simply need to carry yourself in a way that shows you're not desperate for someone else to validate you. When he feels that you are content in your own life, that you're willing to walk away from anything that doesn't feel right, it creates an irresistible pull. He knows he has to earn his place. Not because you're cold or distant, but because you value yourself too much to allow anything less than what you know you deserve. So many relationships lose their magic because one person stops requiring effort from the other. The moment you start overcompensating, giving too much, or overlooking behaviors that make you feel undervalued, the dynamic shifts. You no longer inspire him to chase because there's nothing for him to reach for anymore. It's not about creating drama or being unattainable. It's about having the quiet confidence to say, I don't need you to choose me. I've already chosen myself. That energy is electric. And here's the irony. The men who are serious about you, the ones who are emotionally mature and capable of real intimacy, they'll never be turned off by your standards. In fact, they'll be drawn to them because they're looking for a woman who challenges them, who doesn't settle for mediocrity, and who inspires them to step fully into the relationship. But the men who are only looking for something casual, who aren't ready to meet you at your level, they'll fade away. And that's exactly what you want. Why? Because if someone isn't willing to meet your standards, they were never going to give you the kind of love and commitment you deserve anyway. So the next time you feel tempted to compromise your standards because you're scared he'll walk away, remember this: the wrong man will walk away no matter what you do. And the right man won't walk away because of your boundaries. He'll respect you even more for them. The woman who is willing to lose a man who can't meet her needs is the woman who will always attract the man who can. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is assuming that if they just give more, reveal more, and make themselves fully available, it will deepen the connection and make someone stay. But the truth is, what keeps someone intrigued isn't how much you give them all at once. It's the journey of discovering you. People aren't captivated by what's already fully in their hands. They're captivated by what they feel they're still uncovering. And that doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It means understanding that real connection is built in layers, not in a single overwhelming rush. Think about the last time you were captivated by a movie or a book. It wasn't because the entire plot was dumped on you in the first 5 minutes. It drew you in slowly, revealing twists and details that made you want to keep turning the page. The same is true in relationships. If you lay out every thought, every feeling, and every detail of your life too quickly, it leaves no room for curiosity. And curiosity is the fuel that makes someone think about you when you're not around. It's what makes them send that text, plan that date, and look for ways to see you again. When you're with someone new, be fully present. Engage, laugh, share your energy. But don't feel the need to rush to fill every silence with personal confessions or every moment with updates about your life. It's okay to let there be space. It's okay to let someone wonder what you're doing when you're not with them. That sense of mystery isn't about hiding. It's about pacing the unfolding of your story. This isn't about holding back affection or playing hard to get. It's about realizing that you are not obligated to offer full access to your world straight away. Part of the beauty of a growing relationship is earning trust step by step. If someone feels like they've already figured you out by the second date, there's no room left for intrigue. But if you give them enough to feel connected and yet leave a little space for discovery, they'll feel pulled toward you in a way that's almost magnetic. Sometimes people confuse this with being distant or cold, and that's not the point at all. In fact, this approach only works when you pair it with warmth and authenticity. You want to be open, but not overexposed. It's the difference between saying, "This is who I am, take it or leave it," and saying, "I'd love for you to get to know me, and I'm curious to see how you show up as well." One invites a journey, the other feels like the destination has already been reached. And here's what happens when you embrace this mindset. He starts to lean in. He starts to wonder what makes you smile when you're looking at your phone. He starts to think about what passions you pursue outside of time with him. And most importantly, he starts to realize that your attention is not something he can take for granted. When a man feels like he has to invest effort to peel back your layers, it gives him a sense of purpose in the pursuit. On the flip side, when someone senses that you're overly eager to reveal everything or that your life is orbiting around them too quickly, it can feel like there's no chase left. It's not because they're cruel or ungrateful, it's because they didn't have to work for the closeness. And as human beings, we often undervalue what comes too easily. So instead of rushing to say, "Here's all of me, let it be. Here's a glimpse of me, and let's see how much of you shows up as well." That balance, sharing enough to create connection, but holding enough back to allow intrigue, keeps someone coming toward you. And when you pair that with genuine self-respect and a full, vibrant life of your own, it creates a pull they can't resist. The truth is, if someone truly values you, they won't mind taking the time to learn you layer by layer. And if they don't have the patience for that journey, then they were never going to appreciate the real you anyway. Because the right person doesn't want everything about you handed over in a single moment. They want to earn the privilege of seeing your heart unfold. The truth is, people value what they work for. If something is handed to us effortlessly, we take it for granted. It's just human nature. And this dynamic plays out so powerfully in relationships. When someone feels like they've already won you without even trying, there's no reason for them to keep investing. But when you become a woman who knows how to balance, reward, and challenge, you create an experience that feels electric to him, one that pulls him in and makes him want to keep earning his place in your life. You see, when a man does something that makes you feel good, maybe he plans a thoughtful date, sends a sweet text out of nowhere, or shows up in a way that feels protective or caring, you can't underestimate how powerful your response is in that moment. Because if you do something for somebody, you make sure that they feel wanted and they are respected and caressed a little. Because if you do something for someone's attention, they can't forget about it. They might, when you genuinely appreciate those moments, when you let yourself light up and show him how much it means to you, you're giving him a reward. It's not about overdoing it or fawning over him, but rather allowing him to feel the satisfaction of making you happy. That's what inspires him to keep repeating that behavior. But here's where so many people get stuck. They're great at rewarding, but they forget the importance of challenge. If he says one thing but does another, or if his actions aren't aligned with the level of effort you're giving, it's not your job to ignore it and hope he notices on his own. This is the moment to challenge him, not in an aggressive or dramatic way, but with calm self-respect. For example, you might say, "I really enjoy spending time with you, but consistency is something that's important to me. When plans get cancelled at the last minute, it makes me feel like I'm not a priority. That's not punishment, that's clarity. And clarity challenges a man in the best possible way. It's in these moments of challenge where a man either rises or falls. And you need to let him. Because if you soften your standards every time he drops the ball, you're sending the message that he doesn't need to try. On the other hand, if you maintain your standards with grace and kindness, you become someone he respects deeply. He's not chasing because you're playing games. He's chasing because you inspire him to bring his best self to the table. The reward and challenge dynamic is a dance. When he does something right, let him feel your joy and your gratitude. When he falls short, don't ignore it, but also don't lose your composure. Stay in your power. A man doesn't want a relationship that feels like a one-way street, where he's constantly being criticized or tested, but he also doesn't want a relationship where he feels like he doesn't have to show up. He wants to feel that what he does for you has weight. Think about it this way. If you praise everything indiscriminately, even when he puts in minimal effort, he won't value your approval because it came too easily. But if your appreciation is authentic and tied to real effort, it means something. And if he knows that being with you requires consistency, thoughtfulness, and emotional maturity, he'll either step up or step out. Either way, you win. This isn't about being manipulative or playing hard to get. It's about creating a relationship where both people are invested. You're not trying to get him addicted to chasing you for the sake of your ego. You're creating a dynamic where he feels inspired to continually show you his best because he knows you're worth it. You're not asking him to be perfect. You're asking him to care enough to keep trying. When a man feels that sense of healthy challenge, he doesn't get complacent. He knows that access to your heart, your time, and your energy is something to be cherished, not taken for granted. He knows that access to your heart, your time, and your energy is something to be cherished, not taken for granted. He knows that access to your heart, your time, and your energy is something to be cherished, not taken for granted. And when he does experience your appreciation and affection, it feels like a victory he wants to keep winning over and over again. So the next time he does something that makes you feel special, don't hold back your gratitude. Let him feel the warmth of your presence. But equally, when something doesn't sit right with you, honor yourself enough to speak up. That balance is magnetic. It's what keeps the spark alive long after the first few dates. Because at the end of the day, a man doesn't stay for a woman who gives him everything without asking for more. He stays for the woman who makes him feel like he's becoming a better version of himself just by being around her. You know what's irresistible to a man? A woman who lives a life so full, so rich, and so vibrant that he feels lucky just to be a part of it. The moment you make him the center of your world, he stops feeling the pull to chase you. But when he sees that your happiness doesn't hinge on him, when he realizes you were already whole before he came along, that's when you become magnetic in a way that no words can fully capture. We've been taught this lie that in order to make someone love us, we need to pour all our energy into them, to answer every text immediately, to constantly be available, to show them that they're our number one priority. But the truth is, this approach often has the opposite effect. When someone senses that you're waiting for them to decide how happy you get to feel today, the excitement fades. The chase dies. Because deep down, we all want to earn a place in someone's life, not just be handed it on a silver platter. Think about the most attractive people you've ever met. The ones who walk into a room and instantly shift the energy. It's not because of what they're wearing or how they look. It's because they radiate a sense of purpose, a sense of joy that isn't dependent on anyone else. That energy says, I'm already fulfilled, and if you want to come along for the ride, you'd better bring something beautiful to add to this. That is intoxicating. That is what makes someone chase you, not because they feel they have to, but because they desperately want to. Now, here's where so many people go wrong. They start dating someone, and suddenly their hobbies get put on hold. They cancel plans with friends, just in case he wants to see them. They stop doing the things that lit them up before this person entered their life. Without even realizing it, they shrink their world down to the size of this one relationship. And at first, he might enjoy the attention. But over time, he starts to feel like he doesn't have to work for your affection anymore. The fire that comes from pursuit burns out. And suddenly, you're left wondering why he's pulling away. But imagine if you flipped the script. Imagine you didn't stop going to your yoga classes or meeting your girlfriends for dinner or chasing your career goals just because he texted, "What are you up to?" Imagine you kept showing up for yourself, living a life so exciting and full that he has to step up if he wants to keep pace with you. He'd see that your happiness isn't something he can control or take away. It's yours. And that's when the game changes. This isn't about playing hard to get or pretending you don't care. It's about genuinely building a life where you don't need someone else to complete you. When you love your own life, it gives people the space to fall in love with it too. And the man who's truly worth your time will want to earn a place in that world. He'll respect you more, he'll value your time more, and he'll be inspired to bring his best self to the table. And here's the most beautiful part. When you live like this, you're not just doing it to make someone chase you. You're doing it for you. Because whether he stays, whether he goes, or whether someone even better comes along, your life remains rich and fulfilling. You're not waiting for anyone to hand you happiness. You've already created it. So don't make him your world. Make your world so beautiful that he wants to orbit around it. That's when he won't stop chasing you.